everyone. This is me Aditi, and I'm going to explain a topic of economics which you can see in the screen, that is factors determining price elasticity of demand. So basically in this topic I will be discussing those factors that leads to change in demand due to change in price. So the point to note here is that the term wherever I uses the term elasticity gonna mean change, and inelasticity gonna mean unchanged. Okay, so let's move to the first factor, that is nature of commodity. Okay, so there are three nature. First is necessity, second one is comfort, third one is luxuries. Okay, in the case of necessity, we what is necessity, by the way? So it's the basic need of a human being. Like food is a basic need. For example, we can take any food. Let's take example of bread. Okay, if the price of bread increases just because it's a basic need of person, we're not going to stop buying it because we need it. It's our basic need. So in such case the demand will be less elastic, which means there will be less change in demand even though price increases. Whereas in comforts are those, like let's take example of fridge is our comfort, it's not our basic need. But in such case, if the price of fridge is high, we may delay it to buy it, we may postpone it, sorry. So in such case the demand will be elastic, which means it will be change. Okay, if the price is high. But in the case of luxuries, let's see, in the case of luxuries, for example jewelry, the demand will be more elastic because it's not our basic need, neither its comfort is our luxurious item. Okay, so we can easily delay, postpone it. So in such case the demand will be more elastic. Okay, so necessity case it will be less elastic, which means it will be less change in demand. In comforts it will be change in demand, and in luxuries it will be no more change in demand. Let's move to the another topic, sorry, the another factor, that is the availability of substitutes. Okay, so wait just a second. Yeah, so in the availability of substitute, I have taken example of this Coke and Pepsi. Suppose the price of Pepsi, if the price of Pepsi rise, we can go to Coke because it's a very good substitute. And same in the case of Coke, if the price of Coke rises, we can go to Pepsi. And same in the case of tea and coffee, if the price of tea rises, we can go to coffee, and vice versa. But in the case of no substitute, such as example potatoes, you can find veggies, but you cannot find a perfect substitute for potato or salt there, because there is no substitute. So in that case, the there will be less elasticity of demand, less elastic of demand, because we can't find any substitute for salt, so there will be no change in demand. But in the case of close substitute, there will be highly change in demand, which means highly elasticity of demand, because we have substitute. But in the case of no substitute, we don't have substitute, so there will be less change, less elasticity of demand. Next, moving on to third, the income level. So I have taken example of dal. So suppose if the price of dal rises, it may be 20 rupees per kg. For the poor people, they can't afford it. They may go for some other pulses. So in such cases, the demand will be elastic in poor people case, because they cannot afford it. So there will be change in demand, elasticity of demand. But in the case of rich people, they don't have any problem with it, they can afford it. So in rich people case, it will be inelastic, which means no, there will be no change in demand. Moving on, the level of price. So taking the example of laptop case. Yes, okay, just a minute. Yeah, so in the laptop case, the demand will be highly elastic, because it's a very big, a big thing to buy. Okay, for middle class people. So if the price is really high, they may postpone it. It's not the basic or urgency need. So if the price of laptop is very high, in such case they will try to wait for some sale or something. So at that time they will postpone it. So in such case the demand will be highly elastic, which means highly change in demand. But let's take the example of toothpick. If toothpick price rises also, it will be just a rise of 2 rupees or 5 rupees. So in such case it's affordable, so the demand will be inelastic, which means it will not change. Okay, so in the case of high commodity, the demand will be highly elastic, and in the case of low price of commodity, the demand will be inelastic. Moving on to fifth, postponement of consumption. Taking the example of cosmetics and biscuits, see, it's not a basic need as mentioned earlier. It's kind of comfort. Okay, so in such case, if the price of biscuit or lipstick, any product of cosmetic rises, we may not buy it, so because it's very high. We may delay it, or we may not buy it. So the demand will be highly elastic, which means highly change in demand. But in the case of medicine, even though if the price of medicine rises, we can't delay it because we need it. So in such cases there will be highly inelastic, which means highly unchanged in demand. Okay, so in the case so in the case of commodity differs, like cosmetic and visit we may delay it, but medicines and stuffs we cannot delay it. So there will be highly inelastic in medicine case, and in cosmetic case it will be highly elastic. Okay, so the sixth one is number of uses. So i have take I have took example of milk. So we can from with the help of milk we can prepare butter, ghee, and many stuff, skirt. Okay, so if the price of milk gets lower, we may buy it more because we can make many things from it. Hence, if the more the number of the users of commodity, can put to more elasticity in demand, and vice versa. Okay, next is time period. So during short period, most of the commodities are having less elasticity of demand. So let's take an example. If you're like, if you're going for a wedding, you need you have a short period of time for preparing for that wedding. You need dresses. So in that case, you won't you will do everything faster. It will be very short period to buy things. So in such case, you will not find any substitute anything. So it will be very less elasticity of demand, because there will be chances of having less change in demand because it's a short period. But if in the case of long run, maybe the marriage is almost of about 6 months later, you have long period. You can find substitute, you can go to different shops and many things. So in that case, in long run, the demand will be more elastic. But in the short period, the demand will be less elastic, which means less change in demand, and in long run it will be more change in demand. Okay, so the last is habits. Okay, so the habits in the sense, see, the habits which is addiction. Okay, the addiction to junk food, cigarette, alcohol, many things. Even if the price rises, okay, you cannot it's not like you can be like, no, it's okay, we won't buy it. But just you are addicted to it, so you will buy it. Obviously you will buy it. Some person is addicted to it, to a cigarette. Let's take example, he's addicted to cigarette. Even if the price of cigarette gets higher, he will keep on buying it because he's addicted to it. So in such case, the demand will be highly inelastic, which means highly unchanged in demand, even if the price is getting if even if the price is rising. Okay, next, coming to conclusion, we can say that the price elasticity of demand is affected by many factors. Okay, various factor price elasticity is affected. It depends upon situations and things. So that's it. Thank you.